everybody, welcome to Nairobi's World. Today we will be reading Charlie and Chocolate Factory by famous Roald Dahl and Quentin Blake. If you have Charlie and Chocolate Factory, the book, and the actual novel, I have in my hand, you can just go grab and go. Sorry, my speech is very bad. You can go grab it, and if you don't worry, you can just sit here and relax. So this is only chapter 1, just be noted of that. So there's different versions, so if I say something different to what version you have, that's just because there's different versions. So let's say there's the part that says dark in my book, but it might say black in your book, okay? So just be noted of that. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl is dedicated to you. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 chapters in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Today we are reading chapter 1. Chapter 1. Here comes Charlie. These two very old people are the mother and father of Mr. Bucket. Their names are Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine. And these two very old people are the mother and father of Miss Bucket. Their names are Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina. This is Mr. Bucket. This is Mr. Bucket. This is Mrs. Bucket. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket have a small boy whose name is Charlie Bucket. This is Charlie. How do you do? And how do you do? And how do you do again? He is pleased to meet you. The whole of this family, the 6 grown-ups, count them, and little Charlie lived together in a small wooden house on the edge of a great dam. The house was nearly large enough for so many people, and the life was extremely uncomfortable for all of them. There were only 2 bedrooms in this place altogether, and there was only one bed. The bed was given to the 4 old grandparents because they were so old and tired. They were so tired they never got out of it. Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine on this side, Grandma George and Grandma Georgina on this side. Mr. and Mrs. Bucket and little Charlie Bucket slept in the other room upon a mattress on the floor. In the summertime, this wasn't too bad, but in the winter, freezing cold freezing cold drafts blew across the floor all night long. It was awful. There wasn't any question of them being able to buy a better house or even one more bed to sleep in. They were far too poor for that. Mr. Bucket worked in a toothpaste factory where he sat all day at a long bench and screwed the little caps onto the tubes of toothpaste after the tubes had been filled. But a toothpaste cap screwer is never paid very much money, and poor Mr. Bucket, however hard he worked and however fast he screwed on the caps, was never able to make enough money to buy 1/2 of the things that so large a family needed. There wasn't even enough money to buy proper food for them all. The only meals they could afford was bread and margarine for breakfast, boiled potatoes and cabbage for lunch, and cabbage soup for supper. Sundays were a bit better. They all looked forward to Sundays because then, although they had exactly the same, everyone was allowed a second helping. The Buckets, of course, didn't starve, but every one of them, the 2 old granddads, the 2 old grandmothers, Charlie's father, Charlie's mother, especially little Charlie himself, went about from morning till night with a horrible empty feeling in their tummies. Charlie felt it worst of all. Although his mother and father often went without their share of lunch or supper so they could give it to him, it wasn't nearly enough for a growing boy. He desperately wanted something more filling than satisfying cabbage and cabbage soup. One thing he longed for the most One thing he longed for more than anything was chocolate. Walking to school in the mornings, Charlie could see great slabs of chocolate piling up in the shop windows. He would stop and stare and press his nose against the glass, his mouth watering like mad. Many times a day, he would see other children taking bars of creamy chocolate out of their pockets and munching them greedily. And that, of course, was pure torture. Only once a year, on his birthday, Charlie ever got to taste a bit of chocolate. The whole family saved up their money for that special occasion when the day arrived. Charlie was always presented with one small chocolate bar to eat by himself, and each time he received it on those marvellous birthday mornings, he would place it carefully in a small wooden box he owned and treasure it as though it was a bar of solid gold. And for the next few days, he would allow himself only to look at it but never touch it. Then at last, when he could stand it no more, he would peel back one tiny bit of paper, wrapping up one corner to expose a tiny bit of chocolate, and then he would take a tiny nibble from the let me start that again. Corner to expose a tiny bit of chocolate, and then he would take a tiny nibble, just enough to allow this lovely sweet taste to spread out slowly over his tongue. The next day he would take another tiny nibble, and so on, and in his way Charlie would make his 6-penny bar of birthday chocolate last him for more than a month. But I haven't told you yet about the one awful thing that tortured little Charlie, the lover of chocolate more than anything else. This thing for him was far, far worse than seeing slabs of chocolate in the shop windows or watching any of the other children munching bars of creamy chocolate right in front of him. It was the most terrible, torturing thing you could ever imagine, and it was this. In the town itself, actually within the sight of the house in which Charlie lived, there was an enormous chocolate factory. Just imagine that! And it wasn't simple and ordinary. It wasn't simple and ordinary enormous chocolate factory either. It was the largest and most famous in the whole world. It was Wonka's factory, owned by a man called Mr. Willy Wonka, the greatest inventor and maker of chocolates that there has ever been. And what a tremendous, marvellous place it was. It had huge iron gates leading into it, and a high wall surrounding it, and smoke belching from its chimneys, and strange whizzing sounds coming from deep inside it. And outside the walls, for half a mile around in every direction, the air was scented with the heavy, rich smell of chocolate. Twice a day, Twice a day on his way to and from school, little Charlie Bucket had to walk right past the gates of the factory, and every time he went by, he would begin to walk very, very slowly, and he would hold up his nose high in the air and take long, deep sniffs of the gorgeous, chocolatey smell all around him. Oh, wow, he loved that smell. And oh, how he wished he could go inside the factory and see what it's like. And that's the end of chapter 1 for today. So, did you enjoy that story? We were told in chapter 1 that Charlie loves chocolate, absolutely loves chocolate. I like some chocolates, not all chocolates are my favourite. My favourite chocolate would be Twirl, or I'm trying to think. My favourite chocolate would be Twirl, caramel, dairy milk caramel. They would be my favourite chocolates. What about you? Tell us in the comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you for chapter 2. Slán, agus goodbye.